Truth seekers, what's going on? It is Monday. I hope you had a tremendous weekend and really did some great stuff because, we had some great weather here where I am in Texas. And so, man, it was just a great weekend. I didn't get out much, but, I enjoyed it pretty much from there. Tonight, we have a pretty good conversation that we're going to have tonight. And if you saw the thumbnail or the title, we're going to be talking about the Illuminati and how they're mind control on the music industry. And we'll go in really deep with that tonight. But first of all, once again, you could have been any other place tonight. And I want to thank you for being here. And first of all, I'll bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the 24 time zones that this show airs. And of course, it is a pleasure to serve you. So we're going to get into the conversation, and I'll again say hello to people that's already early in the chat tonight. I think Jarrell was the first person I saw earlier, so he is the first like and the first person to show up. But let's get into the show because it's going to be very interesting, and I want to take you down the hole that we're going to go very quickly. I'll start with, what if I told you that one of the most powerful forces shaping modern culture, rap music, was never meant to empower us? What if it was hijacked from the beginning, twisted, weaponized against the people that it claims to represent? And you know how that works, right? Everybody talks about how rap music's supposed to be of the culture, and that's just where it goes from there. But now we can start kind of looking deeper into this, that there may be some things there, because once I started looking into it myself, and I was like, what, over time, and I'll take you back in a little bit in this show. We'll go back to the 90s versus what's happening today. And when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, the whole rap genre, the messaging was totally different than it was what we have today. And I think it's real essential, and we'll talk about it. And some of you are going to be old enough to remember some of that stuff. And I knew something was off, but I never saw it coming as deep as it is today. And I was warned about it years ago, but now, again, it's there. And then, of course, it makes you think of the question yourself. Did they really do this? They really did this to an entire generation. Yeah, they really, what kind of plan could someone have created that was so powerful and effective that they can take out or change an entire generation? And this is when I say it's time for us to wake up. And yeah, okay, a lot of us, Roderick, this has been going on a long time. We've been talking about it. But are people truly waking up to this is the question that we will have to ask ourselves. And I just don't think they do it, because if you go back to common belief, rap music have been seen as the voice of the streets, a movement built on resistance, truth, raw expression. From the days of Public Enemy, we're talking about NWA, to modern day rap moguls. We've been told that hip hop is about power, freedom, and breaking all of these barriers. Now, of course, if that's true, hip hop remains a revolutionary art form. But what if this is false? Then we can say that it has been carefully constructed illusion. Now, some people say, Roderick, we ain't going to worry about this, but if you want to ignore it, we can continue consuming content that has been weaponized against us. And I'm not saying us as in a total culture, but people that are part of the hip hop revolution, and not getting my math right, whether it's Gen X, Gen T, Gen B, any of that. But anyway, so what I'm saying is there's some hidden truths in this. And we can talk about contradictions, and we can talk about all this stuff, but I want to take you back to, or what I would say, however, in 1991, there was a secret meeting that took place, one that would change hip hop forever. It was a closed door gathering with the record label executives, media moguls, high level investors, and their agenda was to intentionally shift rap music away from empowerment toward crime, materialism, self-destruction. And the reason was they wanted to fill the prison systems that they had out there. They wanted to say, okay, we need the private prison industry with young, impressionable minds who would be programmed into glorifying the very system designed to imprison them. Now, we're going to talk about that meeting here in the show, and I'll get into that in just momentarily. I got some notes right here on my ground. But the part about this is, okay, some people say allegedly, but we will talk, and there's a lot of people confirmed that it happened when it went down into or had this private meeting. But I want to go into this. By the late 80s, early 90s, the private prison industry was booming with the rise of for profit, incarceration. Corporations saw a lucrative opportunity. Major companies like CA, which is the Correction Corporation America, and I think it was GEO Group, they all lobbied. They was out there going, we need to put harder prison sentences on people, and they knew that if we can get more harsh sentences, they're going to make money with the system. And it was all constructed. Then rap became a tool to normalize criminal behavior. Suddenly, the music being pushed was glorifying drug dealing, gang violence, and prison culture versus back when Public Enemy, KRS-One, all of these people were fight the power, or the stories was totally different. Rick, whatever his name, with the one eye, with children's story, just don't go rob. You're gonna end up in jail. It was a lot of stories out there different. Then it just went switched. Record labels, they began signing artists who reinforced this message, and consciously politically aware rappers were phased out, man. And while these artists promoting violence and excess were giving massive contracts, money was coming out left and right. Slick Rick, that's who it was. Yeah, and money was just coming out all kinds of places when they did this. And I'm just telling you that, again, there was some forces behind this situation. And like I said, we'll go in deep into that particular secret meeting. And why not? I would do it right now. So I have some notes. So they said that allegedly this meeting was in 1991. And they said that the claim suggests that the secret meeting took place allegedly attended by the music industry executives and private prison investors. Now, the goal of this was to influence hip hop to promote crime, drugs, and violence in order to increase the prison populations. Now, this was allegedly linked to the rise, again, that I spoke about a few moments ago about the prison population, which profited from mass incarceration. Now, the main points of these allegations that were here was the location. A lot of people was like the location and the participants. It was a big deal. Allegedly, they held this in a private mansion, and it was tended by the executives from major music labels, private prison investors, and a select entertainment industry figures. Now, they had an agenda. They had incentives that they're going to talk about. We'll go over. They had what they call content manipulation. And then there was an industry shift that happened after this. And then, of course, it was linked to the mass incarceration link. So, again, the agenda was to push music with themes of crime, gang culture, drugs, to drive that, what I will say, the criminal behavior. Now, like I said, we've all, if you haven't went to the club or whatever, there are certain songs that come on and then everybody's throwing their hands up in the air. They're pumping their fists. Maybe they're grabbing hold to their weapons or whatever they may be doing, but that influence is there. There are people that are acting out on the streets, the music that they hear in their cars. We're going to pop, 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 tat, 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 whatever. And this was happening. And this is where it comes all the way back. We'll get into that. The Illuminati, mind control. And we've been talking about mind control quite some time. The other part was the incentives. Now, this is something that, how would they resist? The labels that participated in this agenda would receive financial rewards and investment opportunities into the prison stocks. I would love to have some researchers or somebody to go look up some of these prisons, these main prisons, and see if some of these corporations or companies or individuals behind the music industry actually have stock in some of these. It'll be a great story. And if any of you do that, then feel free to send some information, some text or whatever to the 800 number that I'll put on the screen here real quickly just for the moment. There it is, 888-345-9121, news, leaks, photos, or text or whatever, 24 hours, 24/7, 12/365. So, and if that's something that you can contribute, more than happy. Now, it was all about content manipulation. They talked about the rise of gangster rap in the 90s was allegedly encouraged to normalize violent behavior and drug use. So if you think about it and say, well, who was listening to the music back then? And we weren't just talking about black people. We're talking white people were listening to there's young suburb kids. And I think that kind of caused a little shift there. Then they start talking about the industry shift. And they was like, okay, we don't want any more of this conscious, socially aware rap. Now we want to suppress that. We want the violent criminals and all of it. And some of you put it in the chat. Do you remember some of the rappers that actually promoted more conscious? KRS-One, that's one of them. I still listen to some of the stuff today. And of course, Public Enemy, all his stuff was, pretty much, fight the power and, just wait till I get to Arizona. It was just, they had so many songs. But is there any Rakim? Yeah, Rakim. So there was a lot of, and some of you young folks in the 90s may not remember some of this stuff. So I don't expect for y'all participation to be so deep in this, but you're going to learn something tonight. So there was a lot of them out there that was pretty much. Now, they said that this did have a mass incarceration link. Crime increased, and so did arrest, and feeding the growing private prison systems, generating billions in profit. Could you even think about that? To where somebody could sit around and say, hey, man, I got a place that I'm going to build to house inmates, criminals, or whatever. I need to fill this stuff. What else is behind it? What else do these prisoners do? Do they build license plates? Do they go to farms, or do they do real low labor, right? All of these different things. I need to put this system in place, but man, my building is empty. Well, how can we get them in here? We can't just drag them in here. Well, we can make them do crazy stuff. We can make them do crazy stuff. And who would have thought that they would know that they can sit back and do this? Now, when you think about it, the private prison boom back in the 90s, the prison industry complex expanded rapidly in the 1990s. Companies like CCA, which is now called CoreCivi, look it up. The GEO group profited from federal contracts. In 1994, we had the crime bill that accelerated mass incarceration. And of course, our former president was linked to the crime bill. A lot of them were part of the plan of putting people in prison. And yet 20 years later, people are voting for them. It's like, they were the next best thing. The music industry shift, early hip hop, social conscious things, remember Public Enemy, KRS-One. And by the 90s, we then had gangster rap. Then we hit with NWA, Tupac, Biggie, right? I was just listening to the Biggie song this morning, Warning. Who's booking me at 2:00 in the morning? You know what I'm saying? 6:30, whatever, however the song goes. I just like the rap, the beep, beep. Y'all, if y'all remember the song, he get the beep and he wakes up. Who's beeping me at 6:30 in the morning? He says, I want to tell you about whatever. They got this playing the whatever. And it's a jam. The beat just gets you to flow and make you want to go out and just, whatever. Not that bad. But so corporate interests, we're talking about Wall Street, back prisons, influence, social media. All of these people had their hands when it came down to the prison system in this. And I think that was really important. But think about it. If this is true, hip hop has been elite funded psychological operation. It's a psychological operation. If it's true, the entire generations were programmed to self-destruct for profit. If it's true and what we're talking about, then the question is, who's really the puppet masters behind the music, right? We have to look into that. And why does it matter? Well, it's going to matter because if it's true, the industry has never been about music. It's been about engineering thought, controlling the youth, maintaining power structures. This is not just a conspiracy theory. We can go look at things. We can go back and look at the past. It's here where it gets even insane because The biggest rap stars in history knew about this, and some of them tried to warn us. And in the next segment, we'll talk about Tupac. You know, when he said something, DMX, Michael Jackson, they all saw the curtains, and one by one, they was either silenced, destroyed, erased. But the question is why? What did they know that we wasn't supposed to hear? So we'll get into that in the next segment here in just a second. In the meantime, I'll look at the chat and throw a few things in here. So we'll do that. So first of all, once again, I want to thank you here. If you have not, subscribe to the channel, do that so that you know what we do here. This is Truth versus Authority. We seek, see, and know. In the course, our whole creed right here is that, those who obey don't seek. That if they want you blind, you don't see, and they want you ignorant. And so therefore, it's time to break free. If you didn't know it already, I have a birthday coming up, which is happy birthday, Roderick. We are not there yet, and I'm not panicking yet. But if you just go to www.happybirthdayroderick.com and just, we're at 68%. So 100% will be it. But my birthday is in 7 days. And so 7 days, and am I getting a little nervous? I'm just a little anxious, right? I would hope by now, even if everybody just said, okay, we're going to just give him $2. I got thousands of people that watch the show. I know I create some kind of value in somebody's life to, I do, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, I know I do to the 27 other people and people who come, and I know you come here with your time, but I'm just saying I would love to. I have a great plan for what we're doing. But anyway, there's a link in the description there. And then also you could, again, support the birthday wish and everything else. And so I just look forward to that. So I'm going to play it just a little quick, my little intro thing here so I can go into the next segment. So let's roll it. So you thought that what we was talking about was shocking, but it even gets any crazier because the same elite forces shape the rap music. They serve their agenda, also control some of the biggest name in the industry, and we should be knowing that by now. And those who refuse to play by the rules, they get erased. And I know you might be like, man, and even for myself, I was like, man, I need to know more about this because I'm listening to some of these people. And then when I realized, I was like, this is really bigger than I thought. Other than us just talking about them holding these signs, right? But once again, we have to ask that question. How did they get away with this, though? Right in plain sight. Nobody really sees your kids going to their concerts. All of these things are happening. And many believe that the political figures, the media moguls, and Hollywood elites operate independently. We were told that the artist's rise of fame was through talent, hard work, and public support. But they choose particular people. Now, of course, we can say if this is true, our favorite artist is just truly self-made. If it's false, then they're controlled assets of a larger agenda. And we can't ignore this because we remain blind in the influences over pop culture, and then they're going to start controlling our thoughts. So let's think about the hidden truth real quick. But however, if we follow the evidence, we find that some of the most famous artists in the world has been trying to warn us. And we're talking about Tupac, Kanye West, DMX, Michael Jackson. They all spoke out about the industry corruption. They talked about the secret agendas. They were either silenced, ridiculed, or mysteriously taken out. So let me get into some of that. Tupac, real quickly. Tupac frequently spoke about the music industry and exploitation of the artists, particularly those who marginalized communities. He believed that the record labels prioritized profit over the well-being of the artist, integrity of the musicians. And he talked about that. Although we know he had this strife between East and West Coast, but he also talked about control and censorship. He asserted that the industry attempted to control artist messaging, limiting their ability to address social and political issues affecting their communities. He talked about it. He was an advocacy of independence. He encouraged artists to seek independence from their labels to maintain creative freedom and protect themselves from exploitation. And the same thing with Biggie Smalls. Both of them at the same time, although they had problems, they both were looking to get away from their audiences and everything else. They both was. Think about Kanye West. Comparisons to Michael Jackson. Conway had drawn parallels between his experiences of those with Michael Jackson, suggesting that both faced significant challenges within the industry. He also critiqued the industry practices. Of course, he's been a rebel against it. He criticized the music industry, the unfair contracts, and the lack of support of the audience and of the artists, so to speak, but advocating for the structural change to benefit the creators. He had a lot of public statements out there. He was outspoken and had led to address various issues, including artist or artistic freedom. Now, we're still talking about all of this going down the road of mind control. Now, who was the other person that we want to speak about? Who was one that I really like this dude's music? We're talking about DMX. DMX warning about the industry. He spoke about darker aspects of the music industry, cautioning new artists about potential pitfall, including exploitation and loss of their artistic control. He had personal struggles. He talked about it. He openly discussed the battles with substance abuse and how the industry pressures them to add that to their repertoire, so to speak. He was an advocacy for just being authentic, right? He was always there. He emphasized the importance of saying true one. But then all of a sudden, we all know where this went. Michael Jackson, alleged industry conspiracy, period, with Sony. Michael had alleged that there was conspiracy within the music industry aimed at undermining his success and tarnishing his reputation. He had a lot of criticism for some of these record labels. He accused the record labels of exploiting artists and slave drivers and all of this. And of course, we're talking about flagging rights. Now, this is not stuff that you haven't heard about. But when we get into this mind control and then we tie it back to the Illuminati and all of this, because again, Tupac, he was talking about the industry profiting from black destruction. And he wrote lyrics about his fear of being assassinated. It's like he already knew. He didn't leave that, that stone unturned. And of course, Kanye called people slaves to the contract. Now, I can get that. I can understand that. If they're saying, okay, you have all this money we're going to give you, and therefore we got to go with this, and that's something else. What do y'all think about that? Let me look in the chat here a little bit when it comes down to the music industry. So let me kind of look here. What's up? Okay, got hello from some of y'all. Yes, he spoke and said, yeah, all right. Cario said some stuff. Too short. Yeah, too short, special ed. Okay, they're running in there. Run the likes up. Yeah, now make sure y'all put those likes up. We got a few people in here tonight, and it is Monday. Prince brought light and said, yeah, all these people, they figured it out, and they start figuring out that they had actual talent. These are people who had talent, and they were like, no, we're going to control our own destiny. We're going to do this way. And so these people were very, very intuitive on what they were doing and how they wanted to portray themselves. And of course, it comes to that. You begin to wake up one day and you one of these artists, and all of a sudden you find that you're affecting all of these people. Why wouldn't you want to change your tone or things like that? Y'all give Shannon a shout out for for my birthday contribution. And Shannon is just got me one step closer. So we are at 69% of the goal. And so thank you, Shannon, for your donation. And I really appreciate it. And of course, once again, there's a link in the description. And I would hope that more of you tonight, because it's Monday and we're counting down 7 days. And I'll be twiddling my fingers. I done watched 22 videos trying to learn how everything works with this thing. And I'm like, man, it's going to happen. But let's get back down to what we're talking about. If it's true, the most powerful figures in the entertainment are not who they seem to be, people. And we're figuring it out right now. We're seeing it in real time right now. We're hearing and we're fine. But see, there's also a hidden occult influence. That's just what we're going to get into now. And if it's true, then these artists didn't just stumble into trouble. They were fighting against something far more bigger, because beyond the contracts and the corporate greed, there is an even darker force at play. One hidden in plain sight. We're talking about album covers, performances, the symbols of the occult. All this stuff is just right there in plain sight. So we're going to talk about some of this imagery right now. And let's get into a few of these people on occult symbolism, but one we're going to focus on in particular, who y'all all probably be like, what? All right, so the first thing we can talk about is the all-seeing eye. That's going to be your occult symbols. It's seen in music videos with Jay-Z, Rihanna, Beyonce, symbolizing surveillance and elite oversight. Do you think they just said we're going to make $1 billion by doing this? Now, I want you to know that it is in the Illuminati playbook that they have to, for some reason, some kind of reason, they have to let people know that they exist in control. But so they get their minions and different people to display, but they have to do this. So they're not trying to hide that, because it's different factions out there. So everybody needs to know who's controlling who. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about pyramids and capstones, a sign of hierarchy power structures, appearing in the videos and fashion statements. The Baphomet. All right, we all heard about that. The go-ahead figure features in Lil Nas X performances, representing satanic or esoteric influence, right in plain sight. Masonic hand gestures, the hidden hand. They do the pose and all of that. The devil horns, the triangle hand gesture. It's commonly used in the industry. If you start looking at some of these people photographs, and they all team to do it. But here's the deal: if we ignore it, then we're going to continue consuming entertainment without seeing the hidden messages. But the problem is, we know it. Some of y'all see it and y'all still do it. Some of y'all still do it. And it happens right there in plain sight when it comes down to this. And so why do we do that? I don't know. But if we dig deeper, we just might expose some of the true power behind it. See, I'm not talking about what we see in plain sight. We all talk about it. We know. We know all of this. But again, it's just not about the music videos and hidden symbols. This goes straight to the top because the industry is using these things. So let's go into one in particular. I'm not particular. Have you heard of let me see, I got one of my notes. Jay Christ, right? In 2024. In his music video, Lil Nas incorporates biblical stories and religious symbols, including scenes reminiscent of Jesus Christ's narrative, and blending religious and occult imagery to challenge traditional interpretations. You think they're helping us in trying to send a message? Lil Nas in Montero, Call Me Your Name in 2021. The music video featured Lil Nas descending from heaven to hell via a stripper pole and giving Satan a lap dance. Do y'all remember that? All right. And then this provocative portrayal sparked the discussion about how to use satanic and occult imagery in modern music. I mean, here we go. They're right there. And so Roderick, why they're so obvious now? Well, I think now they're getting to a point where we are seeing it more, but because people are waking up in some cases, they have to put a full more press on it. They're going to have to press down on what they're doing. And when we talk about that as well. So I think it's the game. The game is really tight. So these people are really making sure that they do this. For right now, let's take a look at a couple of things. We already know who, this person is. Let's go with Doja Cat. Do you think by happenstance this is artistic, that she's saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to paint myself red. I don't even know how that can be a costume or what the hell went on there. But think about it. But then she also had a video. I forget. It wasn't the one Demons. It was before that. Look at this. Pharaoh. Look at what she has in her hand. Yeah, okay. It may look like a beef cow, but we all know about human sacrifice. We all know about human sacrifice. If you look at this from afar, yeah, okay, it's got the little bell ringing. Maybe the bell mean wake up. That's the symbolism I see, but it's also the same place where a noose would be, where they would hang someone. You already see the body there in the rituals and saying, hey, they eating these things. And she is saying this, look at the coloration, the symbolism of the backdrop, the whole scene, the picket fence, those were graves and stuff. All of this stuff is symbols. It's symbols sitting there. And people, all y'all, not y'all, but most people see just some artistic stuff here, right? They don't see what is really happening when it comes down to this. And again, it goes straight to rituals and all that. And she don't hide anything. She does it right there in plain sight when it comes down to this. Then she had a new film, I think a new one called Demons. This one came out not long ago. I think this one was in 2023. I mean, this is the cover. And if you think that's insidious, there were scenes within it that you get down that, what's this, Christina Ricca, Doja Cat, how many of us have sleep paralysis at night and all of these things? And if you look at this one real close, you see Doja Cat, but in the backdrop underneath her is the black mind control monarch program in black mirrors, the reflection of the mirrors. And that reflection is something totally little different, but it is looking this way. Look at it, it's right there. They put that stuff right there in plain sight. And I talk about it, I alert you all the time. And so imagine how many people seeing this, that the demons come and get you while you're asleep at night. All of these things. And they can put this right in plain sight. And some people are going to look at it and say, Roderick, she is just being artistic. Y'all go listen to the song called Clone Rappers. Okay, there you go. Roderick, I got it good for you. Okay. What do you mean, Trippy Scott? What do you got? And again, I was hoping that y'all go down there and get me closer to my birthday wish. We're at 69%. I'm gonna keep harping because I ain't got but 7 days left, y'all. And then this is I know it's midweek, mid-month, and all that. But let me continue with this Doja Cat, because if you don't think that this is real, I want you to take a look at this. This is one of her concerts. And look at all those people there. And I'm serious. I know. Look at all these people. Phones. Kids are probably there being programmed to what is happening here. So you can't tell me that it doesn't work. You can't tell me it doesn't work because it's a full audience. They're getting paid. Somebody's getting paid. Somebody is really getting paid. What do y'all think about that? And if you were standing there and this big old spider or whatever that could be with red eyes, a demon or whatever, pops up on stage in front of you, are you clearing the building or are you going to pull your phones out like they did and start rapping? That's what they was doing. That's what they do. That's exactly what they're doing when it comes down to this. Yeah. So there we go. All right. So there it is right there. Or Philly Cat, they can now, I got a URL. It's www.happybirthdayroderick.com. That'll make it a little easier. They don't have to kind of trying to figure that one out. So you can put that up there, www.happybirthdayroderick.com. Yeah, and yeah, those images should, because it is real. She's doing it. It's in plain sight. People are buying the records. People are going to the concerts. Young kids are going to the concerts. They're marketing. And you don't think that somebody who's head of a label could say, no, we don't want to put that out there. The public is going to eat us alive or whatever. No, they're making money from it. They're like, no, how do we put her out front? How do we give her more space, more room to grow? And so this is their game plan. And this is how these people roll when it comes down to this. So the other part of that, again, would be just understanding what's happening. But everything we uncover so far is leading us to this moment, because the same forces controlling politics, media, entertainment also control how we think and how you think. And if you don't know who they are, then we are already lost. So let's get now into some assumptions of who we think they are, because sometimes we're going to say, I can't believe this is real. How deep did this go? Well, it goes really freaking deep. And I won't be, you know, we will hope that we're not going to be manipulated anymore. But the whole point is getting people to wake up to it. And I know this conversation goes all the way, but we're talking about mind control now. You know, we're talking about Illuminati, secret societies, go all the way back to reptilian stuff. We assume that we have free will of our choices and what we watch, what we believe, even how we think. We'll assume that history is where was true on what they teach us. But again, I always use the word illusion. It's an illusion, all of it. And then, of course, all right, no, Roderick is true. Then we control our own minds. I don't think so. You know, I don't think so at all. I think our desires have been shaped by hidden forces. I think that we need to pay close attention to it because, once again, it's more than just a top layer conversation about the Illuminati. We're talking about what is happening with this. So when you follow the money, the connections, the control structure, it all starts to make sense. The entire rap industry, just like Hollywood, mass media is run by a small network of elite families, corporations, intelligence agencies, and they all have a clear agenda. They all have a clear agenda. In fact, some of the notes that I have here, if you want to think about it, that you got Universal Music Group. You know, who controls this industry? They call it the big three. Universal Music. Their ownership is between what is Vivendi, a French company, media conglomerate, which is the Baller family, which holds 28% stake of this. You got the Tense Holdings, which is a Chinese company. And we know about the Liu dynasty in the original 13 family. I guarantee you they're connected by marriage or blood, so to speak. You know, you got Pershing Holdings. This firm is led by Bill Ackman Holding, which owns 10% of that. You got Corporate Structures UMG. They're a Dutch company, American multinational companies. Now, it's something coming close to you now. We start talking about all these rappers that are here in the United States, but all these companies are multinational companies, conglomerates. Sony Music, Sony Group Corporation, you know, is a wholly owned subsidiary of a Japanese multinational conglomerate. And we already knew Michael Jackson was going down with that. And so you got Warner Music Group, ownership, public shares. And where I'm going with this, all of this is connection to the global elite, investment firms, wealthy individuals, you know, and so how does it go? And then once again, you're talking media. You know, a lot of media people are involved with this. So these things get a little deep when it gets down to it. And like I said, we'll have an open discussion in just a few moments as we go deep into where we're going with this. But the game plan is who controls this industry? Who are the biggest conglomerate with the direct ties to the French multinational Vivendi, right? We're talking about the Japanese families. So go back, go look at Sony, like I just said, and Warner Music. Go look at them, you know, see how deep their connection fingers are into Hollywood. You know, go look at all of these things, but it just don't stop there. We're talking banking cartels behind them, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and other elites families who have banking financial interests in the entertainment sector. The intelligence agency. You know, we talked about the CIA programs of Operation Mockingbird. You know, they proved that back in the day. So again, there's a lot of stuff that you want to look into when it comes down to what is happening with the Illuminati and all of this stuff. And if it's true, the rap music, once again, has been designed for social engineering. It is exactly what they put it together for. And then you have to ask yourself, what else? What else have they programmed into our culture? Or what we're doing from there. So I'll touch on a few more things, and then we will get a few of you here, you know, because we're going to stay here just an hour tonight, and I just wanted to get through it all really quick. But I think that if some of you want to come on and talk about the music industry, nothing else, no other stuff. If it's about the music industry, something that you know about it, or wherever it is, we can go into that particular part. That's what I would like for us to do. But I'll go over a couple of more things. The Pentagon, they've been influencing film and television. We know that. The Department of Defense has been involved in production of numerous films and TV shows, offering resources like equipment, personnel in exchange for script oversight. Do you think when they're using these movies and they got the exact military bases and all this, that they did not get permission from the government and saying, hey, you can use this, you can blow some shit up? But we need to be into this stuff. We need to make sure you don't say some crazy things, you know. They have scope or involvement. Documents out there that obtained through the Freedom of Information Act revealed that the U.S. military intelligence agency have been filmed or influenced over 1,800 movies and TV shows, shaping narratives to promote favorable views of the military and its operation. They got their hands in Hollywood. 1,800 films, TV shows. We're talking about the military, CIA. Then you're talking the historical Operation Mockingbird, if you ever heard of that. This was back in the Cold War years when the CIA initiated Operation Mockingbird, aiming to sway both domestic and foreign media. The operation involved recruiting journalists and controlling media outlets to disseminate propaganda that aligned with U.S. interests. So they said, let's put it out here in the media, music, and all of these things. And you're talking Theaters of War. That was a documentary in 2022. Theaters of War and the Pentagon CIA role in shaping Hollywood narratives. The film examined internal documents, include interviews and academics and government officials. So these things are right there in plain sight. They don't care. They don't care when it comes down to their control mechanisms and what they do. Yeah, so I'm with you, Chandra. You might want to turn off the TV, you know. Carol said, I would need something to you. I will read something to you that is written in law about the U.S. government partners in entertainment. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, and like I said, only if you have, I don't want any stage hoppers today because we're going to get off. When I call stage hoppers, meaning if you're not contributing to the conversation today, I do enjoy you guys hopping up and everything, and ladies and everyone else. But if you are going to talk about some disturbing stuff in this music industry, then hop on stage quickly and we can all engage into this conversation. If not, then do not come up at all, because I would hate to be clicking a button and be like, what happened? And knowing that I clicked it out of there, right? So, all right, so let me put it right there. Once again, all about music. If it's any other thing, I just want you to know this is what we're doing tonight for this next 20 minutes here. So anyway, I put a thing in a chat. So if you want to hop up, and we're talking about the music industry, the power, the symbolism stuff that we've seen out there, why they're doing this, the effects, all of these things that tie into what we have, then you're welcome to hop in. And as soon as you're done, I will put you back out. Once state your point and we sharing this information together, we would do that. So again, and maybe I just now made everybody say, oh, I'm not coming up because I wanted to talk about something else. And pretty much. And while we're waiting to make sure that we stay on topic, if any of you are going to hop up, then I'm going to just display some information. As you know, we have our private area. We're still building that. We're working on it, but it is our most sacred place where people are, supporting the show financially. I really just have my head out for all of you who have done that and pretty much have put that in space there. So I really appreciate it when it comes down to that as well.
Roderick Martin from Logic is Regina.
Okay, so
accept this call, press 1.
All right, we have a live show, so we do not have call-ins. I don't know why y'all doing that. Hang on a second. All right, so let me take that off. So, all right, we just had somebody calling the hotline, and it tells me. But listen, this is a live show, so I don't want y'all calling the 800 number while I'm live. I can't tie it in. But anyway, I left that thing down there on the screen. If any of you going to come up to do that as well, and we were pretty much doing it. So anyway, one more time, there's a link there for you to hop up in the show. If you're going to come on the screen, if you're talking about what we're talking about, if you're not talking about what we're talking about, then we won't be able to do that. All right. So with that being said, what we got? All right. So, all right. So if anybody got any questions, if you want to stick your question in the chat, I'll be glad to answer pretty much, because I'm done with my kind of outline. I just wanted to make it quick. Today was kind of a tiring day today. So I just said, well, let me still come on here, make a quick whatever. I don't get into a lot of the rap stuff and stuff because it's not my prominent conversation. I don't think it's conspiratorial enough. It's just sitting there in plain sight. But I thought it'd be a good overview for us to kind of talk about a little bit to do that. But anyway, we're 7 days, the countdown to my 55th birthday. And again, tonight we have one contributor, and Shannon contributed to it tonight. And so we just have to thank Shannon for that as well, and getting closer and closer and closer to do that. And let me see. All right, so we have no studio folks tonight. Well, that's cool. And so what I'm going to do, unless y'all don't have any questions, we're going to get out. I'm going to leave and get out of here tonight. If y'all have some questions, or we're going to continue to go on. I have a little small headache, but I'm open, pretty much. But now tonight it's going to be some audience engagement, pretty much from there. So I'll give a countdown. So other than that, so if y'all are good, I'm good. And I think that however you had your weekend, so tomorrow, we'll be doing Forbidden Knowledge. And then, of course, we'll be back here Wednesday. Thursday, we will be doing some things in our... Now Thursday we won't, because I have my... one of my daughters is taking me somewhere Thursday, and the other one's doing it in a couple of days. So I'll be going somewhere Thursday for, my birthday, and pretty much. So we'll be heading to that. Looks like we have someone down here in our studio. I don't know what let's see. All right. So you have a camera on that, Queen, or you going to keep it off? What's going on?
Oh, I'm going to keep it off. Do I have to get on?
You on? Go ahead.
I'm not made up for makeup, so I didn't know I was coming up here. I just wanted to read something to you real quick.
Listen, natural beauty is natural beauty, right? But listen, I'm agreeing with you, because if it ain't there, it ain't there. You know what I'm saying?
It is that day where I don't look like that, so I'm not going to come on camera. But I appreciate the offer. But I wanted to, and thank you for pulling me up here. I wanted to read this to you, because this is something I have studied ad nauseum. I have some background in it. I joined a group, but I won't say what group I joined. I joined something a long time ago because I wanted to find out more. I was an avid studier of a lot of things here. So I appreciate you doing this, because I never had the courage to get on here and do this. Okay. So this is deep. But okay, so there is a section 501, and I really want to pull this up on my computer. I'm going to try to stretch this out so I can see it on my phone. But section 501, small letter A, the secretary and the broadcasting board of governors are authorized to use funds appropriated or otherwise made available for public diplomacy information programs to provide for the preparation and dissemination and use of information intended for foreign audiences abroad about the United States, its people, and its policies through press, publications, radio, motion pictures, the internet, and other information media, including social media, and through information centers, instructions, and other direct or indirect means of communication. So essentially, this is the state board of governors giving authorization for budgetary use to use the media to disseminate a message as needed. So there are, if you ever look at government funding, there are Hollywood contracts that the United States has with the government. And if you notice, when Obama was president, how many Hollywood people were behind him constantly? And then look at Kamala, how many musicians and entertainers were behind her? They actually have government funding for this. Just like Boeing has the most contracts ever with the United States, Hollywood and individual components of Hollywood also get that funding. That's all I wanted to say.
Wow. So are we saying that? Let me back up for a minute. So when we saw, I don't do a lot of politics, but when we saw this last election, these people wasn't really there to promote, but they was there to get the paycheck that was already written in.
Isn't that's what Trump was trying to explain to people? Like, you couldn't even pay the people the $10 million wasn't it 10 million or was it 10,000? $10 million offered to Beyonce, if I'm not mistaken. And they were trying to figure out where Kamala was going to get the money from because she didn't have the money to pay these people. So you had entertainers up there twerking for political votes, right? To engage our people specifically, because our people, according to the Democrat Party, weren't intelligent enough to vote without somebody shaking their butt. So, and I say that intentionally because that should have been offensive to all of us. But in the context of where they use entertainment, if you ever pay attention to all of everything, a lot of entertainment is shifting to grab the attention of certain people. And that's because entertainment, well, not only that, they're using it as a hypnosis. Like if you go back to why the Olympics was ever created, you go all the way back to Julius Caesar and Julius Caesar creating, or let's say the Romans creating the, well, gosh, I can't think of what it's called, the Pantheon. And why they were battling in the Pantheon was because they had to keep the people distracted while the Senate did what they wanted to do. And that was the best way to engage people, to keep them distracted. I always tell people it's a pattern. If you ever watch during the course of the year, whatever turmoil is happening in the middle of the summer, because there's always, when they utilize Mercury rising to impact people and to raise people's temperatures, they always have something that gets people mad during the summer. And it's going to be televised, it's going to be a lot of drama. What kills it is the unifying force of football. Every time, even when they had to bend the knee, everybody said, we're going to boycott football. Did they boycott it? No. The NAACP showed up at the football game because football is a unifying factor.
To go in,
Right. And they all came together under the unification of football. And there are people who look like us who are playing us too. So it's not just the other people. It's a lot of people playing a game because we're chess pieces on a board. And we don't know the position we play because we don't even know there's a game. And a lot of this entertainment, like I asked everybody, I said, what's the probability that they brought out everything you could possibly think of last year? And why did they do it last year? You had pyramids coming out last year. You had the Diddy situation coming out last year. You finally heard, and I say finally heard, about Beyonce and Jay-Z last year. You finally heard about all this stuff that has been out there rumored, but it actually came to the public eye and the viewpoint last year. Why did they wait till last year to do that? And then there was an election. Where did Jaguar Wright come from last year? You know what I mean? Like, Jaguar Wright had disappeared. She was just like a backup singer for a lot of people. So she came out of nowhere. Cat Williams came out of nowhere with this stuff, and he was a comedian, but then all of a sudden, like, he was being utilized. But if you go back, Kanye West has a song called Power. In the lyrics of Power, he said, we're the ones they chose. And I always wonder, like, what did he mean by that? But if you watch the video, everything in that video is symbology of Illuminati. If you go back and watch Who Runs the Town with Rihanna, Kanye, and who is it, Jay-Z? We Run the Town.
Right.
That's an Illuminati video. If you go back and watch every single Beyonce, I could break this down frame by frame. Every Beyonce video is an Illuminati video. All her stage performances, all Jay-Z stage performances. Why are these the people that are being utilized for the government? How'd they become? Man, don't get me started. I'm not gonna take this over. I'm gonna be. I'll be quiet.
Just hold on a minute. So let's get with Dark Light here. What's going on, my brother?
Hey man, how's it going? I've been watching you for a little bit now. I saw you on Billy Carson at first, and
okay, all right.
I definitely can hop in on this conversation. I just wanted to give you a shout out, bro. I'm a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. I believe followers of Abraham are a blood cult of sin worshippers. I do believe in the construct of the actual one true creator.
Okay.
And my channel is all about exploring theology and perception. I want to go around interviewing people of every different theology for my channel. I just don't have the equipment yet, so I just been reacting and shit, you know.
And
I got over
on
300
YouTube,
videos.
It's on YouTube, though? YouTube?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's the name of it again?
It's at Dark Light Ascending, dark dash light. What's that? The lower dash. What do they call that?
Oh, underscore.
ASCENDIN.
All right. I'm going to get a pen. I want you to write down my email, or you get the 800 number, either way. But I'll take a look at your YouTube channel. I don't been to a bunch of YouTube conferences, and so I'll look at your channel, give you some pointers and some stuff too.
Yeah.
Pretty much from there. All right. So you got a pen? You get it? Or you already got my email? You got my email address? Yeah. Or you got my email address.
No, I don't, but I don't have a pen right around anywhere right now.
Okay.
I got my dog on me too.
Hey, I'm gonna whisper to the dog. I'm gonna give it to him. All right. So you want to throw in on this conversation, or you just kind of?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think it's all about perception manipulation. Okay. Our consciousness is the jewel of the cosmos. Okay. And essentially we are all gods. And how do you exert control over a sea of gods? And you have to convince them to relinquish their divine sovereignty through their consciousness. And that is all done through perception manipulation, which to circle back around to the subject, you know, music, that's a big part of how they control people's perception.
All right, Cairo, what do you think about what he just said? I'm gonna let y'all too. You know.
100% facts. I always say, you said the people who talk about the mind, watch out for them. But when I tell you everything is about the hijacking of your mind, if you go in, even in the Bible, you have to protect your gates, right? You're protecting your ears. You got to protect your eyes. You have to protect your energy. You have to protect what you divested. And what you don't understand a lot of times in society is that volunteerism is your vote. And so everything that you consciously and unconsciously are doing, you're rendering your energy to a vote. And that's what's driving a market. So you talk about a consumer, right? You're a consumer and unconsciously making decisions on behalf of the entire country, the world, the city, the state, and your town, because you're taking action, even if it's subconscious, whether you participate or don't participate. That's what's moving a needle forward or backward. All of your thoughts are creating things. I don't care what you don't believe in. If you talk about it, it exists in some capacity. Whatever you render your energy to, it actually starts to create itself and come back to you, right? So you're going to see it somewhere. And so if you're sitting here constantly divesting your energy in something that is dark and Luciferian or dark and occult or dark and negative, darkness is going to manifest, because that's where you put your energy. So that's what they've done over the last couple generations, is they pushed people towards, and I mentioned the Pied Piper theory. If y'all remember, that's what R. Kelly called himself, the Pied Piper, right? So the Pied Piper theory is that someone can walk through a town playing the flute and all the rats will follow them to drown the rats. And so if you think about that and consciously pay attention to what's happening to you all the time, who's targeting who? Where's the masses going? Why are they doing that? And at the time frame that they do it, why are they doing it now? There are reasons for all of this stuff. And they're always playing with our minds because we walk around unconscious and completely and totally asleep.
I agree with you 100%, because when I first started this journey of truth versus authority, when I first started messaging, it was all about authority as us listening to people of authority. And as I started going deeper, I was like, no. Authority is the mind. And I know
there's levels to authority.
Yeah. And they're not going to understand the complex of it because we think we believe what we see, right? And I'm like, no, these people are very good at what they're doing. They can control through the mind. And so, yeah, they're going to use their pawns, politicians, different things, visuals, but this dates all the way back, and I'm shocked sometimes because there's a lot of people like, oh, they don't program me. I'm like, we all done got hit somewhere growing up before we realized it, right?
Yeah,
it's sitting out there, and so I just think it's something that people need to really understand and basically look. Now, you said a couple of times, Caro, or let's go back with you, Dark Knight. Do you want to?
I had something to throw in when she was talking about voting. Now, they want to make us think that only once every two to 4 years that we get to vote, but that's not true. We vote every single second of our lives with every decision that we make, and this is where they control our basic programming. That way, they can. Because if you control someone's beliefs, you can control their thoughts. If you control their thoughts, you can control their actions. Okay, so essentially, by controlling someone's belief, you can and greatly influence to control their actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where voting has the most power. Like just like Billy Carson said, I'm my own fucking president. Ain't no one else my president. I am the president of my own world.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much. Caro, I want to extend. I've always been looking for people who are going to be contributed to our shows, and then pretty much what else do you do? Because if you don't have your own podcast, you need a place to get all that stuff out.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Well, I appreciate that. I used to have a podcast. I've had several of them. It's just I was just like 10 years ago, and I used to. So my background was in talking about technology, and somehow or another, it always gets entangled back to this conversation because at the end of the day, if you're ever on a quest for truth, it's always going to bring you right back here.
Absolutely.
Because
to the mind.
the question is going to be like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And nobody's paying attention. Or better yet, no one's doing anything about it. Nobody's protesting it. Everybody's going along with it. Why are they all going along with it? Do they not see? And how come they can't see it?
Well,
you keep asking these questions over and over again.
No, keep going. Yeah.
Well, check it out. Anytime that there's a real protest, that protest gets hijacked and co-opted. Okay, and then it gets twisted. You see what I'm saying? Like anytime there's a real protest, that they bring out the CIA and infiltrate it, and then they hijack and co-opt that protest.
100,000%.
Look out for that. Once you notice that and you start looking for it, you'll start to see, hey, this protest started off as this, but all of a sudden it got morphed into that. And our freedoms get lost in the process.
Yeah, I think go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, I actually did I don't know if I did a podcast or like a post about this, but I mentioned this a few years ago because I watch these patterns. I have a tendency to pay attention to patterns now, but the patterns, every time that specifically our people, if we start any kind of, or the people are doing something for the people, right? Mm-hmm. Every time there has been anything race related that we actually stand up against, and I caution everyone to go look at this. 2 weeks later, and it's approximately 2 weeks, it gets hijacked by something completely different. I was at a march. I was at a march in Atlanta for Troy Davis. I was walking down the street with several different leaders of our community, and I'll say one who is no longer with us specifically. But I was walking down the street, and we were in the park. Martin Luther King's children were there. They showed up. They had some AU Center people, the Black colleges. The bands came through, marching through. I didn't even know who Troy Davis was at this point, just so you understand. I just saw a protest in the park. I was leaving, picking up some flyers, and I was driving downtown, and I saw this protest happening with blue shirts on. I saw a brother's face on it. So I jumped out the car to go see what they were doing. I walked over there. I used to be an avid protester. But I got out there, and I saw all these people in the park, but it was mostly people who didn't look like me in the park protesting. And I thought that was strange because they all had on these blue shirts with Troy Davis's face. So I went out there and got informed on what was happening with Troy Davis. And it blew my mind that so many people who didn't look like me were out there protesting, and I had no idea who this was, right?
Mm.
So I looked again and I saw Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was my idol for the longest time, and I thought he was just so amazing. And I got to him and I asked him, I said, well, Mr. Greg, because I had a podcast, and I said, Mr. Greg, I said, can I interview you? I said, I love you. I was like, please. And he said, only if you come march with me. So I started marching down Baker Street with this man towards the MLK, so the church, Ebenezer Church is down the street. So I'm marching down the street. And I looked up and I saw these three sisters that were college students in stiletto heels going down. This is a slope, so you understand. They're going down this hill with stiletto heels on and booty shorts. And it hit me. And I said, wait a minute. And he said, girl, we've been protesting for over 60 years. And I looked at him, I was like, and I got this gut feeling. My stomach turned and I got sick. And I was like, I gotta stop right now. And I looked at him and he said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going back to my car. He said, why? 2 weeks later, I drive down the street and the 99% is there with tents and all the homeless. This is a homeless park, right? Where you got lots of people homeless in this park. So, and it was woodland. I'm in Texas now, but I was looking, I said, wait a minute. I was like, just 2 weeks ago, they were doing Troy Davis. And now it's the 99%. And that's when I really started paying attention to it, because I was like, it's something all the time. It's in magic, they have a thing called a sleight of hand trick. And they say you never let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. And this is the trick where, like, if you're paying attention to one thing, you're not looking at the other thing. And that's why they only give you clips and bits in the news, because you're not going to remember. And they bombard you with information all over the place because you won't remember. And then when you don't remember, the other stuff becomes irrelevant. So now it's like the 99%. Well, same thing happened here in Dallas. Y'all remember the first Black Lives Matter protest before it got hijacked?
Well, that's
the thing. Go ahead.
Well, okay. Right off the bat, people were protesting the actual lockdowns itself, and that's one of the things I was talking about, where the protest got hijacked, because people were just protesting the lockdowns, saying, "Hey, this is bullshit." And then the Antifa comes in, and they try to turn it into a Black Lives Matter thing for everyone, but that took the focus off of the shutdowns and stuff, and that's just one of the things. And of course, Black Lives Matter, of course. I was raised up in Florida, dude. I'm in Arkansas right now, but I ain't from here. I just moved out here.
Yeah. No, I think, again, you both of you are making some great points. And there's been a transition of the show, if y'all been paying attention, and I'm sure y'all have, over the last few weeks. I do a lot of stuff about the mind control, Illuminati, monarch programming, going back into the reptilian, because that goes back to religion, to keep things hidden from that point. And it just ties into what I call my triangle of influence, which is the once again, the Illuminati, the reptilians, and then these elites. And it is now glaring that these people do have the power to keep things in control. And it's not that many of them, but they have the minions. And that's where she was talking about earlier, all these people that they're paying, and they're doing it for the money, and pretty much so. So, it's almost like right now I'm out, I haven't got my birthday wish, but if they call me and say, Roderick, we'll get you the rest of the money, just sell your audience out for tonight, y'all sold out, No, I'm just kidding. How you gonna look, somebody go like, no, don't sell us out. Hang on a second. We got somebody we'll bring to the stage here. So, Cairo, here's what I want you to email me, and for a reason, of course, because I see you do a lot of research and some stuff, but you may need to get back in the game a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I second that motion.
Yeah. What do you think, Carol?
We'll talk about it.
Bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm so allergic to bullshit. I'm allergic to bullshit. Here we go.
You got something to say, man.
There's a lot. I have gone. So I used to be on camera a lot, and I've been trying to pull myself back from being in the visible space. And I can explain that too, because I'll talk about a tech agenda another time. But I was going to say on what you were saying about these protests is not different. And the reason why this isn't different, Roderick,
Mm-hmm.
is because everything is about entertainment. And if everybody understood that, the things that we hold dear to us are entertainment.
Oh yeah,
Voting, whether
absolutely.
y'all believe it or not, politics, the news, everything. If you
Yep.
guys remember back in, and younger people won't remember this, but before CNN, I used to be a lover of CNN. So I used to want to be on CNN, just so you understand. But when I was young, I used to watch CNN every night. And they used to tell you when they came on that it was called entertainment news. It
Mm-hmm.
never changed from being entertainment news. And all the news used to be on a separate platform, which was analog television. And that changed under Obama. And so now everything is on the digital platform. And that's because you have recording boxes. Everything shifts to data. Everything we do is data. Everything that's happening is data. And everything that's
Hey,
for sale is data.
Oh yeah.
speaking of
But it's all
data, data has become the most profitable industry, even more than oil. Okay, and check it out. We're all the ones
yes.
paying for our data through our phones and shit. We pay for that. Yet they turn around and sell our data to all these private companies. They sell our data that we already paid for. See what I'm saying? So they're double dipping on the data. Just to touch on that point right there.
All
Well,
right.
to
So
explain that a little bit more, and let me just clarify just really quickly. When I say data, I mean every
we're
activity
talking about
that you ever do in
information.
your life.
Yeah, your clicks, your
Yeah.
likes, your data's the
Yeah.
new gold. They announced that
Well, that's what I'm
probably.
saying. They call it metadata or metadata. You know,
Hmm.
it's just everything you do on your phone and shit. Well, that's they sell that from under us. After we've already paid for it. On the front end, they turn around on the back end and sell it all out from
Yeah,
under us.
I get what you're saying. In other words, we're
Well,
paying
Yeah,
for their service, and then they're making double money by selling our
yes,
tracking, our usage, everything, and selling
yeah,
that
yeah,
information on the other side. So we're paying on the front end, they're making money on both sides of the
yeah,
fence.
yeah.
well, not just there though. When I say everything you do is data, and I say this as being a former database administrator and working with these tech companies, I had a partner, and I can't say too much on this, but I'm gonna say it as much as I can. There is data in absolute, I mean, your breathing is data right now. And that's because of where
Mm.
technology is moving to. It's not in the space of the phone. Everything you do in your life, wherever you go, whatever you purchase, when you're driving, when you're not driving, when you're
Yeah,
sleeping, when you don't sleep, when you're talking to somebody, who you talk to, who you stand around, who you live around, where you walk to, where you stand at, the way you stand, the way you die, all of that is data.
Mm-hmm. Because
All of that. And
they
all
can
of
do
that is for
predictions with
sale.
it. Yeah, yeah, they can predict.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they know who you are. Well, hang on a second. We got Tony in the house. What's going on, brother?
Peace, Tony.
Hey, how y'all doing, Carl? Dark Light. Appreciate. I've kind of like wow, you know what I mean, for how you open up your platform to people
Well,
and
I
how
just tried
people
to
come.
open up Carol to be
Yeah,
part, come on for some segments, and she just blew that shit right off the window. Like,
yeah.
I
I'm
ain't got
like
time for
loving
that.
the conversation.
Yeah.
I've been listening to you for a little bit now, and like Dark Light. I was listening to Billy Carson because I like. I'm not gonna say I'm a conspiracy theorist because I listened to your video earlier today where you was like, people don't want to believe you and trust you, and you know what I'm saying, they call you all of this and say that you're crazy, but you got to remember that the things that you're seeing, your intuition, all that stuff is like always speaking to you, your spirit inside of you, and you just got
Right.
to listen to it. But I heard that, I was like, man, that's cool, and I saw this, but I just wanted to touch on like when I was growing up in the 90s when it came to like music. um I'm about to be 40. You know,
Damn,
I'm very
same.
Damn it.
So I mean,
No, go ahead.
we could be like brothers for real. Like,
Yeah.
you could be my bigger brother. So I understand like the struggles when it came to like when it comes to music. I remember growing up listening to a lot of R&B. My mom's she would play, Brian McKnight, and my sister she loved TLC. Usher, he was big and young, I'm saying in his 16, he was like 16, 17 when he dropped My Way. And I grew up on a lot of R&B, but it, the vibe, the feeling, what it made you feel like you kind of person, like your personality, it just kind of changed. But then there was just this shift. Uh, Master P came out, Silk the Shocker came out, and then you got No Limit versus Cash Money, and Beastie Boys was out there making crazy music. And I also remember how it changed me then, because I wanted to be I changed from being a sweet, loving, kind, emotional person, somebody connected to, you got the masculine and feminine. I was universal. I was whole. But all of the trash music that's been like coming out all the way up until right now, 2025, it could change somebody. Your mental health. And I mean, I've experienced some of that because you just get to a point where you just don't want to talk about stuff. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing, because I know it's real energy. The energy they put into the music is real.
I appreciate it. That you're talking about the video, which was at the end of Friday, but I just clipped that part, the message to everyone, because I get those calls all the time, and I get people, I mean, there are some crazy folks out there. I'm just gonna let y'all know. I mean, there's a borderline between genius and crazy. I mean, it's like, right? It's like you could tell we all walking on it, but there's also an emotional tact thing that I think that they have done a good job. And the people, and I say this because I feel not awful because I experienced it, but there's a lot of people that's watching this now. There's people, like I said before, there's in relationships, Tony, that this is hard enough, man. Going through the trauma, the anxiety that they put everybody through, the system that's created. And then you're trying to find your peace, your sanctuary at home. Then you have these enlightenment experiences because we're all connected. Just someday, one day, you might just the vibration just hit just right and pop you in the head, and you're like, "Whoa, what was that?" And then you're trying to share it with somebody you care about, and their programming is intact too. And their program is to be defensive to whatever that's going on. And this is why I've said it before. I think people need to come up with the "I believe you believe." So it's really important that we do this, and I'm seeing it more and more, and I'm hearing it more. My phone is ringing, my 800 number is ringing, but what's alarming, which I think is pretty alarming for me, is that I could be an emotional trash can. And then I said, well, that story can help someone else. Why don't we do that? No. I just wanted to tell somebody. And I open myself up to that because I'm open for that, because I say it all the time. If you don't have nobody to talk to, call me. But I'm now starting to think like, wait a minute, because they are in relationships they can't talk to. They do have friends they can't talk to, family that they can't talk to. But I got to somehow get people to understand, well, we're going to be a family and community, but we got to help each other out. And it's not for me to be closed and say, okay, don't call. But I just haven't got to that point to where on a few and beyond. So I probably average about 20 to 25 calls a month, and maybe one will say, all right, I'll share it with someone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's very disturbing that they know that they're different and things are happening, but they're still clammed up that they can't move to the next level to walk into that chosen field that they're in. And so it's a pretty, and I don't have a way to do all that because I'm not a therapist or anything. I'm not going to sit down and woo woo woo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I just think that what you're doing right now, Roderick, I really can appreciate it just because uh you talk about a lot of stuff, and
yeah.
I mean, like I've been going back through your content, you know, months, weeks, days, years, and
Thank you.
and I mean, I like the what do you call it? And not a summoning. It was the just had him on your show not too long ago. Um,
Cool.
he was talking about you were asking a lot of questions, and he was like a different energy. He sucked in. He was doing the
Oh, the
dragon breathing.
Kalask
Yeah,
Anthony.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. I mean, that was like super intense for me, and I'm like watching it. I know it was an old video, and it just that like the alien stuff that you talk about. Man, I wish I could have got on that one because I'm in an area where there's nothing but clear skies,
Mm.
and um, I'm in West Virginia. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I mean, Cincinnati, Ohio is like one of the, if anybody's from Ohio, they'll understand. I mean, it's like uh, Detroit or Dallas or, you know, we was on like for a while, like the murder like shows for a while. And, but I moved to Kentucky and I saw how they were talking about it not too long ago on your show about uh, just the atmosphere in Kentucky and how it's different because they sipping on the tea and they don't really understand about uh, being real because there's just a perspective, a mindset there. And I can say this, and I don't want to offend nobody, but like the good old boy system,
Hmm.
um, and you got it here in West Virginia as well. So me being a black man, and I am married to a white woman, and I ain't no shame in that. I love her. You know, she's like my mate, my soulmate. But um, you can imagine the difficulties and the challenges because of the differences in our skin color. But man, back just going like the UFOs. It was somebody that said something about a Fourth of July. I remember that he was saying that man, he was on Fourth of July. He was with his homies, and they're shooting off fireworks. I had the same experience, but I was with my children. And during that time, it was kind of crazy because I had a lot of stuff going on at that time. I had just started a new job. I moved to Kentucky. I had a real bad breakup. There was a lot of things on my mind. I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues.
Hey,
And
I'm going on 9 years single and celibate right now. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Tell you that.
uh, I feel you. I've
Yeah,
been
I
there.
was up
I've
for the
been
laugh, but
single.
I'm not gonna laugh. Go ahead.
I was single for a long time before I found my wife. But I had to work on myself. But during that time, I had my kids. My daughter is about to graduate high school, and my son, he's about to be 12. But we were out shooting fireworks out, and in Kentucky, and we were shooting off some bottle rockets and some other stuff. And I looked up and I was like, "Y'all see that?" And my daughter, her name's Ariane, she's like, "Yeah, what is that?" And then my son Antonio, he's the third. He's like, "Man, that's crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, it's crazy too." So I pulled out my phone and I recorded it. And it just looked like a small like light, and it was just kind of hovering, and it just zipped off. And I was like, "Man, that's crazy. I don't know what that was."
Yeah,
And
they
it
come out a
happened.
lot, and when you
Yeah,
have, yeah, especially when fireworks, because it's really easy to do that. So, hey man, I appreciate you coming up.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
takes
yeah. I
a
appreciate you
lot
having me.
in all of that, you know what I'm saying, and just sharing your emotion, being here, watching the show, and all those things, because um, definitely, I try to make sure I diverse some of the conversations and again, it's still a challenge sometimes because of the conversation and how to get it out. Or with YouTube, it's not just YouTube; it's the community. If we begin to share a lot of this, then the algorithm will kick it out. I don't. When I look at the data, I don't get a lot of shares, right? But I think that it's okay. And back to something that Kyra was saying earlier, and I have it on my board in there, real big. I have it says infotainment. That's what I do, and I want to. The only
I
way
like
I can
that.
get people's attention is to provide entertainment, but I'm gonna be informative. That's why y'all see me slipping in there,
I
right?
like
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, so it's infotainment. It's on my board over there, and so I do understand what we have to do, and to create a show that people will begin to come and watch. It's still a balance. It's still trying to find those segments of conversations to be what we call a destination channel,
Yep.
because you can talk about different stuff. So now it's more focused on, all right, so I do a lot of reptilian stuff. I do, there's 3 or 4 things to kind of watch the data, what people like. So like tonight, this is probably our lowest attendance in a while. And it's because I'm talking about rap in Illuminati and didn't focus it to say, oh, we're talking about alien mind control, reptilian stuff, which is what our channel knows about. And so I'll go back to the drawing board, making sure, do we cover, even though this conversation is necessary.
Yeah.
But then I'm caught up in the same thing. Do I give a necessary conversation, or do I give a conversation that the algorithm is going to put the channel out so we grow to begin to do better things, right? So it's all part of their system, and we're caught up in it on a daily basis, making small little decisions based on data that she was just talking about, because it's all the data. I got to watch the data. I watch every movement, how many shares, who do what, where people drop off. It shows us in the back office. I can say something, somebody don't like it. I can see I lost 36 people right there when I said it. Then
That's
I'm
cool.
like, damn, it was important though, but I better not say it again. They should have heard, they need to hear it, but I can't say it again because then I lose the audience. Like,
Yeah.
how in the fuck did this work then? And so,
Right.
but the data is driving the decisions based upon what y'all are getting, even from me, based on the habits of the audience, and it's sad. But like she said, the data is everywhere. So how do I get that data? They know your data. So they tell me when you're doing what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Like I think like today, like advertising, open up your platform like you did tonight. And you're like, hey man, I don't feel too good, but I want to open up the floor. I think that will promote a lot more attendance and bring a lot more people to your platform and just like, just view you. Um,
It'll work if we can get
yeah.
people to stay on topic when we do this. Then it helps, because what happens once again, if we're talking about this over here, and then as new people arriving and they read the title, the thumbnail, and they come in, and we're talking about blue apples versus red apples. When
Yeah.
things says red apples, then they hop back off. That's bad.
I think you said that the other night too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all. But anyway, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And again, Cairo, I'm trying to, you have an email, you can give me an email, but I have some ideas I want to run by. But if you're going to just say no right here live on the air, that's cool.
I didn't say
I'm
no.
step out, Ken.
You say yes. Listen, we're in the real world here. You say yeah either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying yeah to a commitment of saying you're going to pop up here, but there are some things you're saying, and maybe there's some information you can share on the research side. That's what I was talking about too.
Yeah, I definitely would love to contribute in this space, specifically because I always wanted to see somebody do this, and I hadn't seen it. The only person I saw do it was Billy Carson, but he was kind of like in a bunch of different spaces. So you distinctly are serving a purpose that I think is greater than what you know right now. Unlocking minds, where people thought conspiracy meant insanity for the longest time. I had gone through people telling me I was crazy, and I'm like, and I know I'm not crazy because I got proof. Like, I'm in the circle. What are you talking about? My grandparents were 33rd degree Mason Shriner and daughter of the ISIS. So like, I had a clear understanding of what I was talking about and what I was looking at. And the more I was in there's so many things, but anyway, I was in a space where not a lot of people have been in. And I saw things a lot of people didn't see. And for some reason, I have a clear, conscious understanding of what people are completely asleep to. And I tried to tell people about it like for years. It's just, I don't know if it was too early.
It will be.
But now.
Yeah. It will too early would be it's not so much too early. It's going to be the awareness. Right now, we're having a good shift to where the structures that they have put in place is changing from a visual control that they've been doing, and now it's become technical, right? AI and transhumanism and all this stuff is converting, and in that conversion there's a gap, and we're opening up. We're able to slip through that gap and bring people's attention through. But pretty soon it's going to be a deeper control if transhumanism kick in, and it's already kicking in. They've been doing it for quite some time. So it is important that people understand that it starts here versus everything else. And if they're not going to go that route or don't want to hear it, because that is the most deafening thing, is to look at someone who says that they're awake. See, here's where, let me just get deep real quick. To look at an awake person who assume that they're totally awake, to tell them that they're still mind controlled, that's a battlefront. The ego is now popping. You can't, and to tell a person that that's awake, that they're still, because they don't understand there's layers to this programming.
Yeah, there's levels to awakening.
Yeah, it's a lot of layers to the program. And when they think they don't reach the conscious level, that all thing is neglected, and now it's like you're even more programmed, because it's making you turn against the people who are still trying to come through the door. You won't even open the door. Most people won't open it. And now they look at that person sleep. Oh, they sleep. He sleep. I get it, because we have that. That's why I started running on the level that I'm running, because when forbidden knowledge, Billy, I know him. I'm part of their group. They are my business managers, right?
Yeah.
So the publisher of my book that's coming out now, and all of this stuff. But I do believe that I don't try to tap into those conversations, because there's people that are already there. I'm looking for those wanderers. The wanderers who out there wonder that I can grab them and bring them into that vortex. I can lead them over there to him to get, once they pass me, they want to keep going. But there's more people wondering than people that are already seasoned, awakened. And I think by giving that infotainment information and little subtlety and in your face stuff, and bringing it down to a level of just saying 1 + 2 is 3 maybe, but they saying it's 6 because you believe it, right? It's just the simple shit. It's just where it is. So I think, but if we can get more people that come back to tap into that, and it's going to come with receipts, real facts. It's going to come with modern day symbolism, and then tapping into past symbolism. Now we can get a plethora of new data, of information of what they're doing, because we got to collect data too, just like she was saying. We got to collect data on what they're doing and put the data together and then present it to our audiences. Like, y'all, this over here, this is it. You get what I'm saying, so to speak, right?
I think for anybody who is in the space of what they think is awake, and it's a lot of people who think they're awake, and they are more asleep than the people who are sleeping.
That's what I meant. Okay, that's where I was trying to go with when I was saying that's the treacherous side, because they think they're awake, and boy, they are asleep as all get out. Yeah.
The big thing that people need to understand, and this is the space where you're going to move into the most modest lane you've ever been in your life, is to know something, but to know when you think you know it, that you know absolutely nothing. Because when you think, and I would tell people, this isn't a maze, it's a labyrinth, because the pieces move. This is not a thing where people are like, oh, well, can you just point me to this information? No, millennials, it doesn't work like that. This is a thing where as you ascend and you get into the information, it may move. And it may move in another direction where what you thought was true is now false, because that's something that is true. There's no such thing as truth, because truth is perspective, except for things that are sedentary and unmutable, right? Things that are in the universe, the land is there, the sand is there, but the sand could also become quicksand and you could sink into it. So, right, and it not be there. And so the sun is there. The sun may be, now we're talking about multiple suns, right? So we have a black sun and a light sun. So now we have all these things that used to be something that could never be changed because they were guaranteed to be there. Well, now it's not a guarantee because information is changing because the needle is moving. Now that you're becoming awakened, now they're giving you more facts. Now the facts you have to question and go, well, wait a minute, is that a fact? How can I prove that it's a fact? Math has changed. I did this in a group setting. I said, if you guys look over every generation, every 10 generations, everything changes. This is why nobody knows what really happened in history. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many people. If you think about how we write blogs right now and how many people, and I can tell you this is a content creator, right? I make content for people. I'm not out there doing it anymore. But if you understand that you can create content, put it online, and 10 seconds later, somebody else will have copied it as an original of their own, remixed it, and made it seem like you never even wrote it. And they'll have a bigger audience. So then they're the originator of the information.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing at every historical point in every book that you've ever read. If you think about it in that capacity, that anybody can take information and put it on wax, right? I could put it on paper. I could put it on a rock. Anybody can do that. That doesn't mean that they're the person that actually did it or saw it or created
The
it.
originator.
I mean,
You see what I'm saying? I'm like,
you could use that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, I'm just, all I'm saying is that we have to be mindful of knowing, right? When you know something, don't flake on it. Don't flake on knowing, right? But also be open into the space that there are things that will be moving in the universe. And I have to be able to conceive that the universe is much more vast than my only comprehension. But as I connect with more people, and I say people intentionally, because the disconnection from people is the disconnection from your information. That's why they want to separate people. They want to disconnect people. They want people to have passports. They want people to be over here and over there. People need people because that's where all the information is. And the universe provides all of that. But the oral communication, our historical tradition of griot, we have to speak to each other. We have to connect with one another and share the energy, which is circulation between one and another. And when we're not getting that, you're not getting all the information. You're never going to get all the information unless you connect with people.
Well, communication is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, you said something that I've talked about in symbolism. When you think of the SWAT sticker, in symbolism, it goes all the way back to, Chinese, Japanese, good luck, this and that. Well, then Hitler comes in, twisted it a little bit, put a brand on it, became most famous, and we think it's now his, and now it represents what he did with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but history shifted just like that, and now it's a new history. So I think, and I'm just using that to parallel to say that there is a lot of stuff with information, and you do want to be careful. And I've said it here before when I call it cognitive dissonance. The worst type of people you can be in personal relationships with is people that all their life thought something was true, and then they get enough information to find out it's false. Then they can't make the bend. And the same opposite. All their life they thought something was false. They get enough information that now it's true. Then they can't evolve. But now, as Cairo was saying, even that now it's switching three ways. What was true is false, now back true, and then there's a little added to it. And so my thing is truth is just something that already happens. If it happened, or this is this, there is where your truth is. But they're alternate, they're changing it, they're rewriting history, and they can do it. All it takes is just a few years of new conversation. We all played the game as a kid where you whisper something in one ear, and by the time it gets to the last kid at the end, it's a whole different story, and that's just how the world and media and all of these things move about. And I think it's not just a challenge of that. And that, again, that's why I evolved just from the UFOs. My DNA was UFOs. you sort of speak. When I first got here and was on Clubhouse, won the Creative First Award, got the contract to do, UFO audio there. And then, of course, being in all the different TV shows. But once I start expanding even more, I'm like, I'm not going to let them keep me there because it's more than that, and I start turning down little show offers. No, I'm not going to go talk about the UFO, and the government's already playing a bigger game. They don't turn the tables on us that all these years we telling you all not to believe them. And then they want to come out with some truth that, it is something flying around up there. Right. Mm-hmm. And now it's like they play the mind games, but they're always so far ahead. And that's why I even talk about disclosure and all of this, where there's shows out there that the people that disclosure is the main context, which is cool. Because I got some of my buddies, we're all into the disclosure. Now, believe me, disclosure needs to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, how can me listen to that senator who took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and the powers that be's behind it, tell me that he's walking in there and going to make them tell me something that he can't even do. And when they pull him to the side and say, you took an oath, shut the F up, he walks back out and says, yeah, they still lying to us, guys. You get, am I supposed to vote for him? And perpetuate his story and make him keep his office because he's the only one playing in our game? No, that's it. But there's a lot of people that do that, and they
politician is supposed to be the ones that tell the will of the people to the elites, but somehow that got twisted. Circling back to co-opting movements that got twisted, and now the politicians are the intermediaries telling the people what the elites want instead of the other way around, like how it was intended to be.
Well, it's all a game. So it's now the people can take all that back, but we can definitely,
and that's all in our perception. Circling back to that, is they're constantly trying to control our perception in order to manipulate fellow co-creators into relinquishing our divine sovereignty unto the church and state.
Well, I think it is time, and I'll throw this out here to you, Cairo, as well. If we can get an allegiance of people where we can all create a unified message and start our own rumor, so to speak, you know what I mean? We can play the same game and put some truth out there in a rumor, I'm just making a rumoristic way, that it goes viral, but it affects the system of what they're doing. But it will take an allegiance of people coming together and say, okay, y'all, you got how many parties? 30 to 50 of us. Next week, everybody starts spreading the same stuff. Just get them.
But you would have to safeguard that from your own system getting co-opted and taken over, like happens to so many other systems,
Fact.
That would just have to be a constant safeguard and watching out for.
Well, we would do that. We would just make sure that we have our, what's the word I'm looking for? We would just make sure that we already have our next step ahead, knowing that. See, we already know what they're willing to do. So we already
that's just something you have to be mindful of.
Cairo,
especially
Maya is in Dallas. So you said you're in North Dallas somewhere?
I'm in far North Dallas.
Okay. So I need, Maya's handling all our Dallas stuff.
Peace, Maya.
As soon as this weather change, we already got a list of people. We're going to be doing some, some get-together, sitting out, just talking and stuff. So I need y'all to at least get in contact, because you can ignore my ass, but if you can get in contact with Maya, how can I put?
I texted you the last time I was on your show.
You did not text
me back.
I did?
I did text you, and you said I'm going to send you something.
I keep my word.
I'll send you something next day, and I was like,
You text me on the
But it's okay. I don't remember. I just remember I saved it as Roderick from YouTube.
Okay, so send a text to it now, please. Let me make sure I have it, because my phone is right here. But Maya, then I'm gonna connect you with Maya, and I'll give her your info as well too, Maya.
Hey, I know, Roderick. I know you got.
Well, I mean,
private,
you say what?
I said I know you got that your private group going on. Is it possible for you to send that link and
which one? Oh yeah, the one with the deep private one, like the our bunker private group. Yeah, we have a bunker.
Yeah, the uncensored. Yeah, that.
Yeah. All right. So where were you saying, Cairo? Before I I can aid you and say
Oh, I'm
my phone
texting.
is no longer working. Oh, okay. I can
I'm
make them
texting
alive.
it right now.
Numbers changed, or I'm a team player. I can say, well, no, it's a
Hey,
whole.
I'm Dane. I'm Dane Darklight on Facebook. Also, if anyone wants to reach out to me on there,
Okay,
I got a picture of a
Dane.
dog. Yeah, Daen, Dane Darklight on Facebook. If anyone wants to reach out to me on there, got a picture of a dog up.
So
Dog's
like
my life, man.
everything is entertainment because it's a way to contain the masses. I'm gonna go back to this because I was
Yeah.
going to the piece that all of this, all of the things that people are buying into are entertainment. And you entertain to contain people. That's not the definition of entertainment, but you entertain to contain people.
I like
And
that.
so when I'm watching politicians, right, you got a left and a right side. What happened to the other parts? Why is it only a left and a right? You ever think about
Exactly.
that? You got a judicial branch, the executive branch, and
It's a
the
biopoly.
judicial. Yeah, so you only have these dualities. And I'm
Yep.
like, I don't know if you know of Anthony T. Browder, right? Anthony T. Browder, if you ever go back in YouTube, he does a tour in Washington, D.C., and it's the tour of Egypt in D.C. And because Egypt is set up as D.C. and most people don't know it, the whole entire government is sitting on a pool, whether y'all realize that or not. It's doing magic right there. When you listen to, and I might not be able to say, I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Drop it.
The whole entire concept of speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil is the direct opposite. Liberty is on water, on a reflection in New York City at the peak of the nation's economic. Well, it's not our economic center anymore, but our economic center, where we had the World Trade, the Twin Towers. All of this stuff is magic and entertainment. Nobody's paying attention because you don't know what you're looking at, right? And so we don't study. And the Bible says, "Study to show thyself approved." It didn't say study the Bible to show thyself approved. It says study to show thyself approved. So you're looking at like studying the entire universe and really looking because you are the universe.
Right.
Okay.
You're everything in the universe. So you got to study everything. It's going to drive you nuts. It will drive you nuts. Please understand that and just be ready for it. You're going to go nuts. But in the space of knowing that, you come into a new knowing about yourself, about creation, about what's happening around you, and you're able to see differently. Because
the thing
now
is, we all create our own world through our perception, and that's kind of going with what you're saying right there. And that's why our perception and our awareness is under constant assault by the elites. They must control our perception because they need
yes,
the power of our perception to align with their will. And that kind of goes back to how do you control a sea of gods? And that's by hijacking the minds of each god, and that's done through perception manipulation.
100%. And that's pretty much what I was getting at, because to be entertained is keeping you in a spot. So the entertainment vibration, right? They told you about how they lowered the vibration of music in the 90s. Because, okay, so my background in
They
entertainment, when
changed
I
the
worked in
hertz.
entertainment, I work with jazz music, and I had a calling, a literal calling that called me in to go do this. And it was to save the sound of music, because music, from what my spirit says, right? My spirit says to me that this music that I'm now knowing was a creation of my people, and it was a sound that is a natural sound that comes from instruments, right? It comes from instruments or people who are also instruments. And so the sound is a relevant sound that is what you would connect to God. Why? Because everybody can hear sound, even if they're deaf. You can hear a sound. So this sound, a natural sound that is produced by natural people, was something that was going to go out. I didn't know until I got the next message that digital music was going to come and take that over. And it tried to do that before. You go back to Zapp and Roger, right? This digital sound now eliminated all instruments. and it's getting worse, right? So we don't have the natural sound, natural frequency, natural music that came with jazz. It came with classical. It came even with rock, electric rock and roll, even in that, right? So going back into the different blues, going back into these, I wrote a blog about this a long time ago, but going back into these different sounds, they were all eaten up by the digital sound. And so these things that are digital are not real.
Yep.
The real sounds that really came to you and really actually worked with you actually did impact your brain. There's a video with Bobby McFerrin, and Bobby McFerrin did a video, I think it was on PBS, and it was music, sights, and sound, I want to say. And he does this study where they talk about how they have music therapy. And so I knew somebody who actually studied music therapy. And the chakras and your octaves are actually something that deal with the frequency of the body. It deals with the internal spirit. It deals with the mind. All of this happens at one time when you're listening to music. And so if I can degrade you and bring you into your lower self and bring you back down and keep you there, I can trap you in the sound of what's in your lower self, right? Your lower needs, your lower needing to belong. I look at social media and I think like most people in social media need to belong. And you got a lot of people in social media who have no relationship to any other human being except for the people in social media. And so you don't have human connection, and that's their only connection, a digital space. Everybody's dating through computers now. This was something that was planned. How do you know this? Bill Gates had a jump on everybody 30 years before we even thought something was wrong with him. He was in your household. He put software on every computer.
Be careful of what you say. I'm on probation for what I said about him.
Literally.
Okay. If you say something, just hint around.
I get
don't say nothing about how many people on this earth. Don't
I
use
get
none
it.
of those terms. I'm literally on probation. April.
No, I hear you, bro. I've had a couple strikes on my channel too. The more real shit you talk about, the quicker you get a strike.
Yeah, so I am on probation right now.
That's why I got to be careful about me being on here, because I wrote a book.
You got to encode what you say a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you just got to code it. Yeah, you just got to.
I have been shut down on almost every platform. I haven't come on this one to really go. No, I'm dead serious. I have been on every platform, and I am shadow banned on everywhere. I mean, every single one of them.
You just need you just need to get the new coding. But anyway, I did not get a text to give to.
You didn't get it?
You know I didn't.
Wait a minute. I
didn't. To who?
Brother Roderick. It says, peace, Brother Roderick. This is Cairo on my other number.
Okay, so what's the first three? Don't call it all that, but what's the first three digits?
707.
To 7? You from a 707?
Oh, the number from 707. This one is let me look at it. This is the 888 number.
Oh, you went to the 800 number. Okay, that's cool. But you put your name in there, right? I won't see that until after the show. So, okay.
Oh, okay.
I have it turned off because people be calling it while we're here live and they know I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Look, y'all, he tried to call me a liar on air. You see that?
No, I tried to bend. I rewritten the truth. I rewrote the truth. Okay, I see you here. I got you. And I apologize most. And then so Maya, I will. Okay, so that is your number, and then I'm gonna pass it to Maya. Is that fair enough? Would that be okay too? No? Yes.
What happened to Tony?
Huh?
Tony Brown.
I stepped away from him. Yeah. I dropped my phone.
The people in the chat were asking for you. That's why I asked.
That link to Truth versus Authority. It's or you can go to uncensored.tv. You can go to Truth. Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, uncensored.tv will take you back there. But anyway, that was a link there. It's Patreon. So patreon.com versus Truth versus Authority. All right. Okay. So I will so I'll send you my cell phone, Kara, and then I'm going to include Maya's cell phone as well. And then if this is a good number, which it is, I'll add it to our WhatsApp group text that we may do too. Well, we'll talk about that later. So that way we can all stay in touch here in Dallas, because we're gonna do a lot of good stuff here in Dallas.
You do Telegram. I don't do WhatsApp.
I have
I can't
Telegram.
tell you. I
I
don't
have
touch
Telegram.
WhatsApp whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess we could, Maya. We're looking at changing that. I use a lot of Telegram for
I know it's for international purposes. I don't. Unless another conversation. But anyway,
You got to plug back
we
in,
are.
Kyra. Time to plug back in.
Look, in 2017, I wrote a book, and it came from a white paper. I was with a group called Friends of the African Union, and I had a big tech. It wasn't huge, but I had a big technology conversation that I was having on my platform. I had events, all sorts of stuff, and they asked me to come bring this conversation that I put together to the UN in a forum, and the conversation was about AI way back then, and it was about what was happening. Okay. So the book was Humanity versus Untamed Technologies, and this came from me having discussions with people who were in the transhumanism community, because I was talking to all sorts of different types of people, and I was extremely excited about technology up until this point. And what terrified me, number one, was the fact that nobody that I knew was really clued into technology at that point. And it scared me because I was like, do they understand what's getting ready to happen? So I went on this venture to go and talk to politicians in Atlanta. And I went and I was at the Capitol damn near every day. So I would go up there and I was talking to people, and I kept asking them, like, what was the plan to help people who are not tech savvy get into the space of tech? Because we were 30 years behind the rest of the world in technology advancement and learning, because they moved everything overseas. And people were like, we're number one. I'm like, no, we're not. Do y'all know all the stuff, including what Elon Musk has, is overseas already. And it was overseas years before. And I can't say that on here, but years before it had ever come here. I worked at the tech companies. It's a known thing in tech that everything is over there before it comes over here. So anything we see is delayed.
Like I'm in school right now for cybersecurity, and
we need some hackers in our group. So anybody out there that's bona fide. I mean,
I'm learning how to program and set up networks right now. So, but no, I was in class today, and we were literally just having a conversation about technology, and I'm about to be 40, so imagine me going to school.
What month?
Imagine me going to school with people fresh out of high school. So our conversations are a little different. Just because, I'm like, yo, technology's out there, bro. Like, it's way far more advanced in other countries. But when it comes to us, we're still trying to catch up. And they literally was like, no, bro, nah, man, it's us, man. We ahead. We ahead. And I'm like,
they was drinking the
okay,
Kool-Aid.
so how you feel about this and how you feel about that? And what you know about this? And it was kind of like I don't know, I guess it was kind of a awakening, like a smack in my face, because I remember being like that. Like I remember talking about, religion a certain kind of way, and what the church would teach me and what I should believe in, and this is how I feel, and this is what I think because of what I was trained.
Oh yeah,
how I was trained to
brainwashed.
learn.
Yeah, you're gonna have
programs.
The programs and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna intervene, and I'm gonna get all of you back off stage, so that I will get ready to curtail this conversation. Unless someone else is coming up, then I'll be.
Thank you for this.
No, thank you, and appreciate you sending the number. And like I said, we will. I'll respond to it, when I'm done, and then I'll get all of us together. And Dark Light, we got you. I wrote that down, but somehow get my email address when you get a chance. Send me an email, and I'll go look at your stuff. Tony, that address is right there on the screen. It's Patreon /Truth versus Authority.
I'll grab it. Thank you for having me. I know you said you was not feeling well. You ain't want to be on too
Yeah,
long.
I appreciate y'all stepped in. I almost thought I was going to turn the show over to Cairo for a second, and her and my brother in here. And
Yeah,
Dark
thanks for
Light.
having me, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I've been watching you for about 8 months now.
Hey, I appreciate it. Well, watch me more. Y'all watch because y'all gonna see not only transfer. Well, I'll talk. I'm gonna put y'all in here and then I'll talk down here. All right. Each one of y'all, appreciate y'all coming up. All right, and there we go. So so definitely thank you everyone, for coming up. And you all know I'm open to that. You know, if you got messages, you got things that you would like to say, talk, do, I encourage it. I do encourage you to come forward and share the knowledge, especially if we can start curtailing different conversations. I've said it before. If you got the 800 number, begin to use it. Maybe you see some links and stuff that you need to send, and we need to go over it, or we need to take a look at it within our orbit or whatever, because it's going to take a crowd source of information that goes beyond what I'm researching, thinking, or anything in particular, because I do have a narrow focus of looking at a few things and trying to focus in on it. And it is something that can serve everyone's interest. But if we can kind of diversify and keep it all parallel, but going in the same direction, I think that's be good. My goal is to eventually, within months, have a panel of people, trusted people that's been vetted, knowledge-wise, enthusiastic people, and then each shows we can start having more deeper conversations about already topics and things that are happening in real time. Especially if we get enough people that want to go deep into the mind control elements, which is what I like too. And so that'll be something that we will do. And pretty much, he says, I'm Wahid, first time watching the whole stream. Wahid, my designer, Strawman, is that my guy, or is that somebody else? So put the thumb up if that's my guy. And so we need to know if that's him. But anyway, yeah. He says I'm Wahid. So if that's my guy, that is my guy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's my guy, y'all. So that is the guy who's responsible for all of our designs and different stuff. That's my guy. And for Luminous, the concept of Luminous. And so there he is, and pretty much. And he's actually making some concept for us with our new triangle of knowledge that we're doing, so you guys would know when it comes out, and pretty much. And so welcome. And so all the reptilians, if y'all go to the website now, there's some new reptilian stuff that we just put up in the designs and stuff that you see. But he creates, actually he helped design, I gave him the concepts. He helped design our protection. We worked on it for a long time, and he moved stuff around and put stuff in place too. So he's the straw man. There you go. So appreciate you being here. In fact, when I get off tonight, you and I definitely need to chat and go, because I got the PDF that you sent today. So I just didn't respond yet. I needed to. And but yeah, so anyway, for my birthday, I was just hoping one more person at least today. We got one. If I brought some value to you guys, you can go to www.Roderick, happybirthdayroderick.com. And it is just a dream. But it's becoming a reality, that at 55, I'll have a little toy to play with, but also provide content for us or whatever. And pretty much, but I still tell each and every one of you, I appreciate your time being here too, because you could have been any other place tonight and you chose to be somewhere else. You could be somewhere else, but you chose to be here right now. So y'all give a shout out to Shannon for our person of the day. The one person who said happy birthday to Roderick in my thing over there. And so I'm gonna give her another. And I know y'all gonna want to see me cry. Y'all gonna see me cry if my birthday comes, and I have to say, well, you know what? It's just whatever. That's my humor, though. I just want y'all to know, don't do what you can, and what your heart tells you to do, in your minds and all of that. So that's all good too. All right. So real quickly, we'll be back here Wednesday live here. And I am going to go into some reptilian conversations. Found a couple of things I want to talk about biblically, so to speak, but some pictures. I'll start using a couple of photos that I'll show you guys that we will be talking about. Because I think it's real essential, and hopefully in time we can, me and a couple of people, we can start visiting some of these sites. Because I'm really thinking, and y'all can, just really contradict this or not. I'm starting to have this thought that it's important for us to go down the rabbit hole of the places and knowledge that they do not want us to go. And we need to take that knowledge and because there's knowledge there, and apply it into our lives and begin to use some of this exoteric knowledge. She said, your birthday is the same as one of my best friends. Yeah, March 10th is that day. And I'll be 55. Man, yes, I'll be 55. But I think it's time for us to begin to extrapolate that knowledge. We have to now. And I may say this in the wrongest of the ways, but my intentions are positive here. I'm not talking about going to go do no damn satanic worshiping. I didn't say that. But there's different symbols and information and hidden and esoteric knowledge that could enhance our personal lives or could enhance us consciously, that they're tapping into, utilizing, using it to make a better vessel of themselves. And why not us begin to take a look closely and say, wait a minute, that is a universal natural power, not a taboo. We need to harness that power and begin to understand how can we use that power. That's why, things are starting with luminous and all of those things, because I think it's time for us to illuminate ourselves, as well as they call it being initiated or initiative or being initiated or illuminated. We're luminous. But the whole point is for us to begin the process of taking that knowledge and begin to understand it and use it, whether it's in business. And I've said it before, when you hire these brand experts and people that's going to create these particular brands for you, then it is important that maybe you find someone who understands sacred geometry and all the different things that we have talked about, symbolism and begin to incorporate that into your next business logo. So you draw the sacred power to tap into consciousness, especially if you're going to have a great intensive product that's going to help somebody. Why not draw them to the righteousness of your product and services, or your whatever you do and that you're doing for humanity. And so I think that is something that's important, that we need to stop looking at it as fear, but then go on a quest for knowledge ourselves. And then we can identify, hey, don't go in that door, don't go in that door. But there is something I want you all to know. It's called natural law. That it just, you can't evade it, and they do use or learn natural law that we don't use. And once I think we start talking more about it, incorporating natural law within in what we do, then I think it would be very best in our best interest. So quietly, I'm trying to put a few people together to venture down that. Yeah, well, it's a delicate approach, because we are talking about things that they don't want us to talk about. We are trying to expose stuff that they have been keeping a truth. However, if we are able to not do it here, where they're controlling and censoring, and begin to have our own little communication places and just the way that we're going to share and just, and place out that information just like they do. Maybe it's technology that Tony was just talking about, something encrypted like Telegram in different areas that we can encrypt and have a group. I'm actually in a group that are people that claim to be, not from this earth, reptilians, whatever, and they conversate and send me stuff all the time. and to prove they're whoever, and to look for this and look for that. And it's the most interesting thing. Now, do I know who they are? No, or are they whatever? But yeah, we can do that. So we have to then establish our own, and that was one of the reasons I put together the uncensored area, because we can talk and say what we want. We do have people joining it. I am still working on making sure I add the value. We have a few people that say, hey, I don't want to have nothing else to do with it. That's cool. And that's okay. I'm not going to block it out where they can't come back, but they'll come back, because what I have planned and what we have stored for the future. And I challenge all of you that's watching me. I hope at some point that the knowledge that we learn together puts us all in financial ability, that we do want to support what we want to support. We do want to do what we want to do. We are totally capable of doing that. She said, Brother Roderick, do you know Stephen Greer? Who is that? Who is Stephen Greer? She said, do I know Dr. Stephen Greer? Anybody know who that is? Ferris Bueller. Y'all know who Stephen Greer is? How can I answer that question if I don't know who Dr. Greer is? He the brother from that show called The Greer Show? Is Dr. Greer that brother from The Greer Show, or is he? Sierra, is that who you're talking about? Maybe not. Maybe so. CE5 events, Dr. Greer. Yeah. Interesting. However, let me put it like this. All right. So, who is that on that screen? Sierra. You see that picture there? Can you see it closely? No. Yeah. I know the guy. That's my guy. Oh, anyway, that was Dr. Greer and I. Chilling. We hang out a few times. I have his number. I have a lot of them. Yeah. So, but anyway, she said, "Oh, okay. Then yeah. He's cool. He's cool people." I think that I knew who she was talking about. I was just being funny and just trying to be funny. I was being petty because, and nobody else is donating to my toy, my video birthday gift, all that kind of stuff. And Shannon's the only person tonight and who have done so, and so I was just being petty. But don't take it personal, Carol, being petty. But yes, I know him, and I have his information, and George Tsoukalos, all these different people, Linda Modenhow, Ryan, all these people are in my phone. But yeah, I was just being petty because I'm gonna keep being petty tonight. Maybe just one more person, and might say, okay, Roderick, happy birthday, Roderick.com. I even went to make it that simple. I said, let me get a domain name, happy birthday, Roderick.com. I should have just left it where it is, but I'm trying really hard. Yeah. Just trying really hard to do that. All right. So real quickly, like I said, we will, begin the process that is important. Once again, that we do need to start harnessing the power of that information, begin to look into it. I'm reiterating what I was just saying, because I think it's really significant. It's going to take a line of people to really think about it in that capacity, and to go down the road of enlightenment, the role of studying, and some of it may be, I'm not saying it, it may be some type of, wink your eye twice and 3-2 ritual to activate the power of something that may be sacred geometry up in the cosmos, because it's cosmically designed to work a certain way. To do that, like I said, my hypocrisy will stop if we get down that I got to start eating you all keep my weight up. I'm not doing that. But, the other part, but I still think there are some other things that we could do. And pretty much there. She said you should hit Congress up for a grant for research while they're still, what, that would be nice though. Tony said, here's happy birthday, bro. All right. So y'all, let's give Tony a shout out and then I'm going to cry. Okay. So here's why I'm going to cry. Because YouTube is going to take almost 40% of that, Tony, the $9.99. So you can say about $5 or $6 to come here. And then since it's March now, I won't even see that until April the 21st, the 5 out of the 9. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So if my birthday is $5 short, I'm gonna be crying because not only YouTube took the money and all that stuff, but later down the road. But anyway, y'all give Tony. That's still my humor, but I appreciate the support, brother. I'm just being funny too. But there is a link, y'all, down in the description. It is easier to do it on YouTube, so I will get the contribution either way. So y'all, but I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, so what do y'all think though? What do you think about us tapping into esoteric knowledge? Not to just learn what they're doing, but to use it. Put it something in the chat before we get out of here. Are y'all willing to go down that journey? That when we start doing our uncensored rooms, that we're now applying, not just talking about it, but we're going to apply some of this stuff. What do y'all think about that? Let me know your thoughts. And pretty much. But anyway, again, Tony, appreciate you. And Tony, I don't know if you know, but my email address is contact@whythebigsecret.com. Email me and put in your contact number, because I definitely may want to talk to you about some IT stuff and to stay open on some of these things, right? So yeah, so contact@whythebigsecret.com is the email address. And then you eat me. What is that? Look, I'm talking about eat me. Somebody put some stuff up here. Talking about you hungry? I'm like, eat me. I'm like, who's sending it? I don't know if y'all heard it. Just came across my screen. It was like, eat me, eat. You'll have you eaten. I'm like, eat me. I'm still trying to read it now. What the hell? No, I have not eaten dinner. It's my cousin. Oh, he eat. Man, you ain't offering me no damn food. He's talking about boy, you know I'm hungry. But anyway, okay, so there it is right there, Tony, on the screen. Contact@whythebigsecret.com. And then, put in a contact number for me, please. Don't just send, hey, this is Tony. Send, if you don't mind, share a number that I can, call back and pretty much. And I'll reach out sometime tomorrow or text you or whatever from there. But yeah, so y'all think it's a good idea. Nina says it's a good idea. Yeah, so I think it is that we need to start learning how to apply that particular knowledge that we're learning and everything else. And we can kind of do that. All right, so we've been here a couple hours. It's Monday, and so I will get ready to get out of here. And then, like I say, Tuesday, tomorrow night on Forbidden Knowledge, I am contemplating on uploading a video there instead of live tomorrow for the, I may, yeah, I'm thinking about uploading Friday's message there for tomorrow. So if you come, I'll be in a chat. We can support that. Because I'm still wanting people to kind of get the message. And I clipped it again on, the skeptics and how they're treating people. I think that, we need to get that content out so people can understand that this is the place that people can, come here, in no ridicule, no whatever. They can come and get the knowledge and everything else. Again, for those of you who are thinking about someday getting into the game of knowledge, and not knowledge, but maybe getting back into, starting your podcast, posting, or all that. We need to build an army of posters, content creators, and just send stuff out. I think it's going to be necessary because I've found now it's my weakness. I won't be able to do it all by myself. I try, to keep up with some of the stuff, but it does moves really fast when we're doing that. All right. So, Diana, the godmother of our channel, she says good night. Y'all say good night to her. And all right. So I guess I'm going to get out of here too then. I think we are done for tonight and Wednesday. And then Friday, we'll be back Friday. And then Monday is my birthday on that day. I don't think I'll be here that day. I think I'm supposed to have some dinner or something. I'm not for sure. I didn't have any plans. It looked like someone said, "Hey, Roderick, we need to get you some dinner for your birthday." So I might get, blessed there. And then, but either way, 7 days. Now it's going to be down to 6. And we are 69% goal of getting there. Okay. All right. Peace and love, all of you. Again, love each and every one of you, and give everyone a hug, and good night, y'all. We're gone.